I wanted to share a few thoughts and meditation with you. Like most of you, I have been walking through this time with a certain amount of difficulty, sometimes anger, sometimes fear, sometimes in wonder as little miracles come into my consciousness. And so I asked myself the question, what am I learning? To me, obviously, there are some lessons that are being put in front of us. And because this feels like such a powerful time of transformation, on a conscious level, I don't want to miss what's right in front of me, or what I am being asked to learn, or to assimilate, or to heal, or to transform. And so I began to realize that what I am learning is not just about waiting for something to be over, which is kind of a penchant of my personality self, or a hunkering down in terms of safety or protection until things get better, or until things fit the formula that I think they're supposed to. But the question I've been asking myself is, how will I as a person, how will we as a race emerge from this state of transformation? I don't know what form that is going to take, or what form that is going to look like. But I do know in essence that we are called to perceive ourselves in the world differently than we have been. What is that call like, and how is that manifest? Like most of you too, I watch the news, or even if I didn't, I'd be hearing about it somewhere, someplace. And like most of you too, I am very challenged to understand where some people might be coming from, why they hold the beliefs that they do. Years ago, I could disagree with you, and I would have an understanding of your argument or your leanings in one direction or another, even though I disagreed with those. Today I find myself, and I'm sure there are others too, who find themselves at an impasse of, I don't have a clue of what makes some people or motivates some people the way they are being motivated right now. And so I sat with that one for a while, not trying to understand with my mind so much, because that's not where it's coming from, but understanding with my heart, which is really one of the lessons that I'm being asked to learn here. I started to realize that my heart's desire and yours, whoever you might happen to be, our heart's desire is the same. And today I am extremely grateful because I have at my disposal the methods and means to be aware of my heart's desire, as close to the truth as I could come to it, and that will always expand. So I'm not pinning that to a wall and saying that's it. But I have at my disposal the method and means to be aware of my heart's desire and to create or manifest that truth in the physical world. Some would call that love, some would call that kindness, some would call that alignment with divine will. There are many, many ways of describing that. And then I began to realize there are many who might not have not only the same methods or means or resources available to them, but there might be many who have a very limited sense of how to be able to get their heart's desire, and they might not even be conscious of it. They might be very, very limited in their thinking or in the method and means that are available to them. I fall into that trap occasionally myself. Simple example. The kind of thinking that I find myself in occasionally. Perhaps not as often as I used to. But if I only had this, if I only had that, if only this would happen or that would happen, then I would be happy. I would be at peace. Now, I have proven to myself time and time again that that doesn't work. The Dalai Lama put it wonderfully when he said, "You in the Western world attempt to use material means to gain spiritual truth. It just doesn't work. And yet if I don't realize it doesn't work and I'm not very conscious of it, I will keep trying the same thing again and again and again. If only this would happen, if only that would happen, if only I had this, if only I had that." Now, when I realize that my brothers and my sisters' heart's desire, whether they are conscious of it or not, is the same as mine, my entire perspective of them and what they are doing can change. I believe this is the open door to compassion. It's not a denial of anything. It's not a judgment of anything. It's an awareness. When our heart's desire is not reached, or when we are using methods and means that do not or cannot work, then I am in pain. I am in suffering. And when I am in pain and am in suffering, I can lash out. Not because I desire to hurt you, but because perhaps it is the only way I know how to be able to experience myself as being safe. My heart's desire and yours heart's desire is the same. Now the mind might want to go but. I encourage myself to sit with that truth for a moment. Not to see what comes about from it, but to see if I can rest in it for a while. I know that I am not in control of you. But what I also began to realize is that how I judge you and how I perceive you affects you. If I hold you as being evil and in darkness, and hold in my heart the judgment to condemn you or what you are doing, not only have I put my own perceptions in a box, but I have put you in a box as well. And oftentimes, if I make that stronger, I throw away the key. So when I say, as this marvelous prayer, what is sometimes referred to as the Ho'oponopono in Hawaiian healing, when I say, "I love you, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, thank you," I am releasing the box that I have put you in, along with the realization that if I put you in a box or put you in the dark, I am there as well with you. As that line from a song goes, "If I hold my brother in the dark, I cannot see the light." Recently, I was in a couple of classes that made reference to something that is going on both within and without me. I had this fantasy a few days ago before I came across this idea that it seems like many people are working with, grappling with, or working on explaining. I went into my imagination, or my creative thinking, and thought to myself, what would it be like if there was a soul, a spiritual being, who decided to incarnate here on planet Earth, maybe 70 or 75 years ago, and decided that within this incarnation, because of karma or because of love or because of purpose, that I will be the embodiment of separateness, the embodiment of prejudice, of fear, of control, of manipulation. And I will be such a great model of all of that, that human beings all over the world will be challenged, if they are open enough, to be forced to look at and heal their own sense of separateness, prejudice, control, and manipulation. I will be the chosen catalyst for their healing. Would I be willing to thank that being? Thank you for teaching me what is hidden in my heart, the systemic racism and prejudice that I have been holding on to, perhaps for lifetimes, that is now painfully coming to the surface so that it may be healed in compassion, in love, and in grace. By the way, I'm doing all of this for me. If you get anything out of it, that's wonderful. But I needed to be able to articulate some of this stuff out loud so I can absorb it a little bit better and a little bit more into my own system of healing. So thank you for bearing with me. If you'd like to, let's take a few minutes to do some inside work. So if you'd like to, you can close your eyes, take a couple of breaths. And wherever you happen to be, whatever position your body might happen to be in, whatever might be going on with your physical body, to become aware that you have a body, but you are not your body, you are more than that. You can even say those words to yourself. I have a body, but I am not my body. I am more than that. And then for a moment, as the breathing deeper takes over, without even your conscious effort, to notice what is rocking around inside you on an emotional level. That there are some emotions you might be able to name, and others perhaps not. Just notice, get a sense of all of that stuff moving around inside. And then saying to yourself or reflecting to yourself, I have feelings, I have emotions, but I am not my feelings, I am not my emotions, I am much more than that. And then releasing that for a moment, becoming aware of your thoughts. Notice how you filter your thoughts. Some are relevant, some are not. Some are meaningful, some just suck us right in. And others we just kind of go, And others we're not even conscious of dismissing, but we do. Constant chatter of the mind. And when we sometimes say quiet the mind, we don't mean hitting with a sledgehammer. We mean simply creating some distance between yourself and the chatter. And one of the ways we do that is by saying to ourselves or affirming to ourselves, I have a mind, I have thoughts, but I am not my mind, I am not my thoughts, I am much more than that. I have a body, I am not my body. I have feelings and emotions. I am not my feelings. I am not my emotions. I have a mind and I have thoughts. And I am not my mind. I am not my thoughts. I am much more than all of that. And to rest for a moment in that much more of you. None of us wants to be in that painful place of judgment. Because when we become consciously aware of that, we can feel and sense our heart closing off. Because I can't just do that with one or two beings and say, I will close you out of my heart and I will open my heart to these others over here. It just cannot be done. When I close my heart to those whose personality I cannot stand, I close myself off to all beings. And so for a few moments or so, we are not going to force anything to happen. You're not being asked to like somebody who is unlikable to you. But what would it be like in this moment simply to open my heart to all beings? To show all beings the compassion that I would like to experience for myself. To show all beings the forgiveness that I would like to experience for myself. We are aware of that space inside of us, that potential, that creative activity, where there is non-judgmentalness, where there is compassion, where there is openness, where there is peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And know that we can enter into this space because it is always here, it's always available, anytime we choose. One last thought that sometimes strikes me funny and sometimes not. This lifetime, this 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 years, is a drop in the bucket of all of the many lifetimes you have experienced and all of the many lifetimes that you probably will experience. Jesus said, may they all be one, just as you and I are one, Father. And what he was saying was to each one of us is that we embrace that oneness inside of ourselves, and there will come a time, there will come a day when all rests back in oneness. It might be even now in this holy instant that transcends time and space and intellectual definition. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be free of suffering. And may all beings remember who they are.